We're gonna call the meeting to order at about a little before 1:15. Some of it's my fault because I was here late, and some of it's because we waited for the guy in the back who will wave to, but he won't talk to us because he's not as much fun as the other guy who records. So, additions or deletions to the agenda? Anybody? I've got a couple. I got a couple letters. And I have a negotiation in executive session.
Executive, so we have to add that to the zone. Oh, that's right there, sorry.
Yeah, we have an executive session. Okay. Peter, you ready to rock and roll, buddy? Okay. You're the only public. Cool. We got the minutes of the February 3rd, 2020 meeting in over there in Wardsboro.
The board members present are incorrect. Laura wasn't there? Barry wasn't there.
And I was not there.
Yeah.
But, oh,
Laura and who?
And Barry.
crossing you out.
We're crossing you out, Barry.
Crossing you out.
Okay.
Okay.
With, except for those corrections, is there anything else?
Good to me. Make a motion to accept.
Okay, Mark makes a motion to approve the minutes. Rick seconds it. If there's no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Cool. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Barry will abstain. Cool. So old business equity is just there as a placeholder. We're gonna have to probably pick that up beginning of March. Probably the second meeting in March. Website design, that's a placeholder, and let's look at that in the second meeting in March also. So we had two complaint policies, and it got a little confusing. So at the last meeting, I believe we approved the complaint policy that deals with personnel, complaints about personnel. And for some reason, the third page of my minutes is missing. Just make sure that we approve the personnel one.
Did we approve it?
We didn't approve it, we would have adopted it.
We would adopt it.
Not adopted, we would have voted to post it.
Post it. Original information, other business.
Oh, here's page 3 of 3. Complaint policy. Sharing policy. And just show copies of policy and complaints about school personnel. That a book will be available, says policy here. So we didn't vote on it.
Because we wanted to present it today in Dover.
Okay, perfect. So now that we're in Dover, the complaint policy on personnel, does anybody have a issue, question, comment on that?
So,
Public complaints about personnel, code D10.
yes.
Everybody good with it?
It's the same as the ones previous, right? Best.
Yeah, it's a little, it's got the same steps, it's just written a little different.
Okay.
You know, they add things like the district places trust in its employees.
I think that's the one where they had to change compliant to complaint.
Right. Change the wording.
That complaints,
The compliant.
Because it was compliant in a couple of places.
complainant, the complainant, I think this is the one I got.
Yours is probably, looks like it's been fixed.
It's in the third paragraph,
For a second.
towards the bottom.
If the issue's the complaint, compliant, okay.
Compliant.
Client basically.
Right.
issue.
Complainant. Official.
Okay, so I changed that and initialed that. Was there any other place where that was the problem? So somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to warn. Policy D10, public complaints about personnel.
Second.
Please have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And actually, it's unanimous, so. Okay, the second one we got was on complaint procedure for non-personnel issues. And that was supposed to get updated to be River Valley's not Dover centric.
This one, right?
Yep, and I don't see that I ever got it. And it's got the same coding as this one. So I would say we're not quite ready
Bill was gonna
to fix this for
fix
us.
it to make it non-personnel.
Right, and I don't know what
Non-personnel.
happened. Okay, so that'll have to carry over, and we'll have to make a note that Bill needs to deal with that.
Yeah, all I know is the Dover one, right? Is that it?
Yeah, I don't
And
see,
it's got the same code, D10.
yeah, and I don't see that he changed that for us.
It wasn't included in the email you sent us, the
No.
document, so.
Okay, so we did post policy F13 at the last meeting, and that was the residency policy.
Right.
So if we posted that on the 3rd, it's been 2 weeks, just 2 weeks. So we can vote that one if you folks want.
What was the number at 13?
That one is F13, correct. And remember, we're just approving the policy, not the affidavit and the checklist. That's an administrative procedure.
Right.
I make a motion that we adopt F13, the residency policy.
Okay, so I have a motion. Do we have a second?
One second.
Okay, Rick seconds the motion. Is there any further discussion? Okay, if hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Do I,
No?
oh, you voted for it?
Yes.
Okay, then it's unanimous. Everybody's in agreement. Boom, complaint policy, and we also wiped out the residency. And then it's gonna work on that. Under old business, I forgot to add this, but, on March 11th, 2020, Senator Baruth is gonna, he's head of Senate Ed, from 4 to 6 p.m. in Montpelier on March 11th, 2020, 4 to 6 in room 11, the big room. Senate will be having a hearing on the weighting. The Senate Ed will be having a hearing, public hearing on the weighting issue. All but a few schools in Windham County are impacted negatively by the weighting as it currently is. If it was to, change to the new weighting study, which we have. Oh, I know why. Because I was going to do this in the weighting study down below.
Bless you.
So actually, let's hold that. Does anybody have any other old business? Okay, we'll move into new business, River Valley website links. Mark, you get that with you? 'Cause
I didn't print it out,
printed
but I can tell you, I created 4 essentially shortcut links to make it easier for us to access and communicate different portions of our online world. First is video.rvusd.net. That takes us directly to the BCTV page with all of our videos. The other is board.rvusd.net. That takes you directly to the WCSU board page for us, where all of our documents are.
I'm gonna tray it down for Peter.
Okay. And then dover.rvusd.net takes you to the Dover website, and wardsboro.rvusd.net takes you to the Wardsboro website. And I did renew the RVUSD.net domain for another year, because it came up in the beginning of this month, I think. So we have that.
Where did the Dover and Wardsboro links go to before?
There weren't any links.
Oh, there weren't
for
any links,
RVUSD.
okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to change our online world to RVUSD.net.
Okay.
So right now, it just points to Wardsboro school.org and Dover school.net.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And if there are any other shortcut links that people think would be valuable to have, they're very easy to create.
This is all from the
RVUSD.net. Yeah.
Okay, not from the school sites.
Correct.
But I know at the meeting, there were some concerns that the school sites had some issues with their links being not active.
They're
very old.
They're old. There's some
Yeah.
old stuff on both websites. I've started working on a new template for the district, something that isn't going to cost us any money, but that we can put together a new site very easily, so we can kind of move over to an RVUSD.net website with a Dover and a Wardsboro separate site, but all together. I'm hoping to bring a mock of that on the second meeting in March, so you guys can see it. And
That's when we have our discussion on updating.
that's
Yeah,
why I'm going to write that.
Nice.
cool.
Is there a way we can repair some of those links that are?
I don't have access to either
You
of
don't
those.
have access.
Tammy is for Wardsboro and Matt is for Dover. They're the ones that have the access to currently to those sites.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'd love to.
Whether we should just kind of look at the sites and see if we can find anything. Who do we?
We did, Anita did send an email to us, which Rich had given to Matt to take care of. I know that some links on the Dover town website got updated.
Right.
After that meeting, so it's possible that things have gotten updated on the school websites as well.
Okay.
Possible things have gotten better,
Possible.
but not probable, just possible.
I will let you know at the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, we good with that? And just write them down.
I'll give them to,
Peter, so he's gonna write them down for you, that you have them, and then you can give them to, we can give them to
Okay, thanks.
newspaper. Okay, next thing is the school district meeting review. So, everybody that's here was there. Everybody that was
There's here.
there, everybody out there was here also. So what'd you think of it? I didn't think it went bad. What'd you think of it way out back?
I wasn't there for that one, actually.
Oh.
Somebody else, but
It was
I
somebody
did
else?
it, so. Looked good,
It looked good? We're gonna get like the most views for that one, you think?
probably.
another award.
Probably because of the editing job.
That's right. That's true.
You good, Peter?
That was Dr. Backus conducting, yes?
Yes.
As usual.
The old quack.
Yeah, I thought it was a good meeting. I thought that there was some good, it was more unified is what we're trying to accomplish between the residents of both towns. It was almost could distinguish between where they were from. They weren't taking, the audience wasn't taking a perspective of their towns, I felt. I felt like they were talking more about the district as a whole. Kind of got that vibe a little bit. I thought that was great.
I can't think of one question that was specific, was there? There was like, where is the IB?
Yeah, I think Randy might have said something that was town specific, have Tanny, but I think that was about it.
Yeah,
That's a really good point, though.
It
I
was.
thought that was good.
I mean, we didn't get explanation for the no votes.
No, and I don't think you would have gotten any, I think.
Right.
Sometimes people just, so, yeah, and in the vote on the budget, there was 34 ayes and 14 nays. But it was still over 2-1. And then a lot of people didn't vote. I didn't vote for the budget, because I never usually do. A couple from the front did, because they, remember,
Did he?
Andy pointed at the table.
I did, yeah.
He did.
I thought he was like, all right. But maybe I
And-
didn't.
So I think if you look at the first three, they went fine. There was a little question what people do.
Yeah.
I think the auditor thing is, Bill's supposed to look into that for us. So, and if we are required to have auditors, then we'll just have to appoint some. The stipends for the board was, I don't think there was any questions. Pardon?
There were no questions on it.
And then the mileage, it just, what was it? And I was wrong. It's like 57 and a half or something. I thought it was 55. The 200,000 seemed to go okay. And then, as somebody said, the budget, there was some, I thought there was really good discussion. And what, I guess, like somebody just said, the only thing that surprised me a little bit is if there were people who were opposed to it, that they could have tried to amend it. But I think it's hard to stand up and make an amendment. It's easier just to say nay.
As we saw later on in the agenda.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I think the tuition rate was fine. I think next year, I used to always have a list of that, and so, I think Randy made mention of that. So we'll
It's
just,
nice that Mark, that you had some of the tuitions.
yeah, or at least the numbers.
The
But,
numbers.
Yeah, I had the number of students.
Students.
Yeah.
but it would have been nice if had how much the tuition was for the different schools, and we were reaching a little bit. The reserve fund issue, I think, went fine. And I'm wondering if because I noticed there was a lot of people that had gone to the two different meetings. So I think it is important to do them ahead of time because it seemed like maybe some of those questions got answered. And then moving the annual meeting.
That was interesting. Yeah, that was a good one. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, that was a good.
So it's going to be the first Tuesday in April next year, and following that will be the last Tuesday in March.
Yep.
But again,
$5.5, $6 million without too many questions, and then all of
Yeah.
a sudden, the next meeting comes up.
Yeah, budget was,
Right. 1 hour
was less than a
discussion.
20-minute discussion, and that was 32 minutes.
Interesting.
22 minutes on that?
No, the
32.
budget was less than
Yeah.
20.
Oh, yeah.
That, the date was 32-minute discussion. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, really? I give the group credit for coming up with a solution. Though. That was impressive.
and
Everybody was so confused by the time we got to the end of the day.
well, because you're voting the same thing 3 times over.
Well, that was confusing. Sure.
Right, but you have to, because you have to vote the amendment, the amendment, and then that becomes your main article. So anyways, and then I don't remember, in other business, I thought I wrote some notes. Better budget, the people didn't like the budget in the book, and I think we all pretty much knew that.
Yeah.
And they
Spacing.
wanted to divide out the STEAM and IB a little bit more.
Yeah, they wanted stuff broken down a little more.
Yeah.
It actually is broken down, it's just hard to see it because the categories are all the same in the different areas.
I think we're gonna have to add another page to.
Well, yeah, I think we need to include a number of people, including some who didn't come to the meeting, said they couldn't figure out the budget the way they wanted to because we didn't give the number of students that we had.
We did,
So, in there?
yeah, it's right in here,
On the,
it's right there. Equalized pupils, 273.56.
they didn't order.
Hmm?
And I forgot it was there.
Yeah.
There was a big chunk missing.
Oh, really?
They taped it together and put it in a bag and said, sorry, we damaged your mail.
Oh.
I got it after the meeting. I was like,
After the meeting.
yeah, so I had to grab one off the table.
That's funny.
I had to grab one off the table too, because I went through one of the meetings, I went through the mock-up that I had, and it wasn't the same.
Can we include the notes that Lori gives us on the budget so that we can
No.
understand? No? Okay.
Just open up a whole.
Another can.
We've never done that, that's in there because,
It would be better, it would be good if we could flush out some of the WCSU stuff. I think that's what really confuses people all over, you know what I mean?
well, there's the one guy who questioned the gym versus the special education from the supervisory union, and I wasn't sure what point he was trying to make there.
I think that, wasn't that before he realized the order, that the total was
But
below
he'd
the
also been
percentages?
at 2
At the
previous
informational,
meetings, too.
I think we can all agree that we should just clean that up and make it a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want everybody to know, Tuesday, April 13th is Ramadan in 2021. So that's why we couldn't do the second. Shouldn't have done the second, but I think it passed, so we're good. It is the second Tuesday, right? Not the first? Or is it
Next
the
year?
first?
Next
Yeah.
year's the first.
First, okay, so we missed Ramadan too.
Yes.
All right.
There. Didn't even know we'd done that.
Oh, wait, so next year is the first, oh my gosh.
Yeah, so next year will be in April.
Mm.
So right now, we would be preparing the budgets to put together. We would have to warn it probably next week or the week after. We
Right.
could actually probably vote it the first meeting in March. But I think we should vote it before, because the first meeting in March
Mm.
will be the last time this group meets, because then there'd be 2 new people possibly on the
Right.
board.
Right.
And then elections. Mark's running. Are you running again?
I'm not.
You're not. We're gonna miss you, so this will be your last meeting.
No, the meeting, first meeting we have in March
March.
is before
Okay,
that meeting.
that's
so-
right, it's the night before. Okay, well, we'll miss you then, so we'll have cake for you then.
Thank you, Dad.
I just like reasons to have cake. So anything else from the school district meeting? I think we know we gotta clean up the booklet. Anything? Any other takeaways?
You said we would just say more if they're gonna vote against it. Just-
Yeah, it'd be.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to get some directional information.
Yeah.
Just to know, but
Which is a lot of the purpose of doing it from the floor, so we have an understanding.
exactly.
Of what's going on?
Yeah,
Mm.
it might be worth just mentioning it at the beginning of the meeting itself. In case, remind people this.
And we kind of did it, we actually kind of done it last year when we talked about why we wanted to go to a floor vote versus a ballot vote. Okay,
I'm just wondering, I know we talked a lot about, the space issues in the booklet, and then we also talked about possibly having the budget online as well. I don't even know if we
the
do have.
budget is online.
It is online, right?
Yes.
We also, back in the merger days, we had like frequently asked questions. Is there a way people could submit questions
Like online.
prior to, regarding the budget on the website?
There will be on the new site.
Because that might be a way to get some people to interact with some questions about the budget prior
I think
to-
Anita got one question the entire time.
Yeah, I don't expect a ton of flurry of questions, but, you
I
you
think
never
it
know.
was me.
Just a thought while we're.
No, Peter, can you write that down? So is there a way that people can submit questions? I guess my only issue is if they don't come to a meeting and they submit a question
Yeah.
and so at the meeting, we say, okay, well, here's some questions we got,
Mm.
and we answer them.
Guess we could.
How do we know that the people are actually getting their answer?
What we
Right.
can do is respond to them with a link to the minutes and the video. And say this was discussed
That's one way.
at the meeting.
Or we could answer it, yes.
Or, I mean, during the, I don't remember if it was the Act 46 committee, or if it was the beginning of this board. Took a whole bunch of questions and published the answers on.
Yeah, that was
It was
questions from a meeting.
that was
And
on
we
the
discussed them, and we
Yeah.
discussed them at the following meeting.
Yeah, just thought, I'm just trying to think of a way to.
We could have an FAQ or a recent question section on the site and just
Mhm.
post answers to
I could do that as
questions
well.
there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a tricky one.
It's another one of those things you want.
Pardon?
It's, it's another one of those, the information's in a million different places, and then but
Right, and
adding
then-
one more doesn't hurt.
Okay.
But then a lot of people are right, well, I didn't know.
Right,
Right.
yeah, okay.
No, but it's some good things to think about. I mean, I think we do a pretty good job. I think we send out a really nice booklet. Again, somebody made the comment that, I could do with less pictures and more information. But I've also heard a lot of people say it's nice to see some, and it's not like we spend a lot of money.
It's not just a
Okay.
business and a budget.
Yeah.
Yes, so again, it's, I guarantee it, you'll never make everybody happy. And I guarantee that there's always gonna be somebody who says,
Yeah.
huh?
I'll take your guarantee.
Yeah, I'll take that,
Yeah.
for sure.
And that, you'll never get everybody, you'll never satisfy everybody, I don't think. I think we do a really decent job. I know we do a better job than a lot of boards do, I think. I feel like we do. So, but there's always room for improvement too. None of us are perfect.
Could we at least think about having a 5-minute period at the beginning of annual meetings where Tammy and Matt stand up and just give a short presentation
No,
on?
because it's not, the annual meeting is not for the school administration. It's supposed to be the board presenting the budget.
Okay.
So I'm really, I think that takes the focus off, because if we can't answer the questions, then we're not doing our job. And I felt that way for a lot of years. I know in Wardsboro, you used to do that. You would have a huge presentation, and basically your administration was presenting the budget. But to me, that's not, the administration isn't there to present the budget. They present to us. It's our job to sell it to the voters.
I was suggesting that they talk about what's been going on in the school, not.
Well,
not-
they have parent night, they have open house, they have a lot of stuff to do in the school, and I think that's something we can put into the booklet and your report if you want. But again, in Dover, we've never had a principal attend a school district meeting until Bill did, and Bill was a voter in town. And Bill didn't attend them all. We never had the superintendent here, and we've never had the business office here. I know it's been a little different in Wardsboro,
No,
but
to your point.
we always felt that was our job, to be able to answer the budget. And if we couldn't answer it, then we should be replacing, and that's what happens when people on the board got replaced. The other thing is, sometimes that draws the meeting out too, and then, by the time you get to the budget stuff and the stuff you want to discuss, you're really late. But again, I'm 1 out of 6 people, so if you folks really want to do that, you can.
I feel like our meeting went fine this time. I don't see why you have to do it. I mean, the reason that we had begun to do it in Wardsboro years ago was because the administration was a little better at explaining the things that were going on in the school, not necessarily budgetary things. It was more like the student scores were improving and things like that. So people asked questions about how, where their money was being spent. It was easy for them to say, well, look at how our test scores have improved, look at how this has improved, look at how that has improved. It was easier for them to do it than it was for the board at that particular point in time. That's why.
Right.
We also, Steve Jobs was very pushy about being there.
Yeah, and not everybody at the annual meeting is a parent, so they don't all know what's going on in the school. So there was an opportunity for people who, the folks who don't have kids in the school to see what's going on in the schools. But I also see your point too, Rich, that there are other places where they can get that information.
And I mean, we can do a quick overview. We could ask the administration to write, and well, they do. What do they write in the report? Who's got their?
Yeah, I think,
If we're going to expand on that, then maybe we can expand it in
I
there.
think we got to expand on this next year. I think add another 4 pages.
I think one more page.
Well,
One more
4.
page will give us 4 pages.
Right.
Well, that was where we were kind of at.
Yeah.
But we also cut the mailing list way down by doing households versus individuals.
I didn't say a whole lot in the letter.
Well, we cut it, we scaled it.
Well, we
back.
only gave
Yeah.
half a page too.
Yeah.
Cool. Weighing study, discussion and possible action. So, back to my thing, Senator Baruch is gonna have a hearing on March 11th, from 4 to 6. 4 to 6, room 11 in Montpelier. I made a note that Kool-Aid will be served. Senate hearing on weighting. So if you know people who are very good public speakers and don't mind speaking in front of a group, it would be probably good to have them up there. What we're looking for, or what they're looking for is, just to explain who you are, how you're impacted by the weighting study, what you want the Senate to do with the weighting study, and what you're gonna do next, if anything. Like, I'm gonna follow up on this, or, I'll make sure that this goes forward. I think you only get 2 minutes
Yeah.
to testify. So it's definitely something you want to have at least some notes prepared, so because you'd be surprised, 2 minutes goes for a long time when you had to, stand up in front of 100 people in high school and do a presentation, but up there, 2 minutes will go really quick, and it'll be over before you know it. We also, Rick and I went to the WCSU meeting the week before our meeting, so 2 weeks ago. And we,
Day before our meeting?
yes, it was the day before the meeting, so it was so it was a week ago.
Yeah.
It was last month.
God, time flies. It seemed like 2 weeks, doesn't it?
It's like-
And at that meeting, Wyndham Central charged the chair of the Wyndham Central Board to write a letter to House and Senate asking that they consider putting the weights in place this year. There was 4 things: putting the weights in place, not make any major changes to the educational finance until the entire legislature gets to review the study.
The 4 short bills that,
No. We did mention there are some bills that have been turned in, but we didn't, we had them in there, and it was suggested that we take them out. So, and that the relief is immediately, and that we're willing to have people who will come up and testify. But the big thing is implement the weights this year. There are 4 short bills that we're Laura was trying to put in. One is to do that, implement the weights, not make the changes. The other 2 is to have AOE look at how much student opportunity was lost between 2000 and 2018, and qualify the excess penalty, the number of dollars the excess penalty took out of districts over from 2000 to 2018. And there wasn't the excess penalty, I don't think, in 2000. I think it came in at some point after. And that there's really no justification for waiting on the weighting. So that was that. So I don't know if we want to do a similar letter for the river valleys that we can also send up, or if we want to do personalized letters, it's whatever you folks think, but that was what it was on the agenda for.
I think we should. And the more organizations they hear from, better.
Anybody else?
Rob, right?
Yeah, I completely agree.
Okay, so why don't we make a motion?
Who does it, hold on a second, who does the letter go to? Just gonna be sent?
It's gonna be sent to Senate Ed, Senate Finance, House Ed, House Ways and Means, all our local legislators, and the newspapers.
The newspaper, okay.
Whoever we can send it to.
Great, no, that's what I was gonna ask, absolutely, that's fantastic.
So you wanna make that motion?
Yeah, I'll make a
Go ahead
motion.
and make it.
And I'll make a motion that the board submits a letter to all those places you just mentioned for the opposition to the weighting.
No, support.
To support the weighting. Sorry.
I'll second that.
Wasn't a very good motion, but thank you for sticking that.
In support of the study?
Of the weighting study.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Barry seconds it. Is there any other discussion? Who's writing the letter?
Chairman.
So that, not that the board, but the chair on behalf of the board.
Chair on behalf of the board. Yeah. I think the letter should come from it's from the entire board.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, on behalf
So I would write it on behalf of
of
the
the board.
entire
Yes,
board.
yes.
Okay.
I'll catch up today. I'm a little slow today.
That's fine. It's a holiday. Are you okay with that, Barry? Okay.
Now,
So
it needs to be
the,
much different than your WCSU letter.
yeah, it's got to be
Right.
different, I was told.
Yeah.
It's because if not, it looks like just a form letter. So
No, I just meant it doesn't need to be, I mean, you guys have
Right.
the same points.
yeah,
Yeah, basically.
no, it's because it's interesting. In our district, we win and lose. If they enacted the new weights, together we win, but separately, one town loses, the other town gains more. And then that was one of the issues, and it got brought up at the WCSU meeting, because there was one nay vote on it, because there was one town that could, under some scenario, increase their tax rate 60 cents. Yeah. That is, it's pretty huge.
It's a lot of property.
Yeah.
A lot of high-end
Yeah.
property.
But remember, it's only homestead. There's a lot of those high-end properties nobody lives in full-time,
Right.
so. Yes, sir.
Just for clarification, there had just been discussion of the letter requested to the legislature and the subcommittees covering certain specific points.
That was
This
what the
motion is to write a
WCSU letter.
Yeah, in
Right.
support of the WCSU.
No, this is a motion that the River Valleys Board have the chair on behalf of the board send a letter to all the places discussed to support the weighting study, to support enacting the weighting study.
Support acting upon.
Enacting,
Enacting.
or acting on, well, we don't want them to act on it, we want them to do it. We want them to enact it.
So implementation.
Okay, sure. You okay with that? That's your motion?
Yep, I'm good with that.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Are we all ready to vote?
Sorry, I missed the second.
Barry,
Thank you.
he wants to get his name in the minutes a lot because he may not be around much longer. He may be surprised because if he doesn't show up to town meeting, he may just get put back in.
That's right, you
anyway.
gotta show up.
I figured that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. WCSU alternate discussion, possible action. I think we can bail on that because we'll reorganize sometime right after town meeting, which is only a couple weeks away. And our next WCSU meeting is until April 1st or April 2nd, April Fool's Day. So I think we can deal with that at a later date. I did have a couple new things that came in kind of a little bit ago, but after our last meeting, we, at our last meeting, we talked about Dover. Had a couple faucets that were over the new parts per billion on the lead. So did Wardsboro School. I think it was just one. And it has to be taken out of service for drinking and cooking. So they're also working on a permanent plan. And it looks as though because there was some money put away from, by the legislature last year, that we can, we'll get some help with it. So hopefully it'll be taken care of in the very near future. And we can be a lead-free school again. Let's skip over, let's talk about the next meeting. We can meet the night before town meeting, but I think the teachers are still out. I don't know if we get any administration there. Do we want to put that meeting off till the 4th, and then we'll meet after town meeting, and then we can reorganize and set our agendas and set our meetings and move forward from there? Would that make more sense?
You mean the following Monday or?
No, the
Let's
Wednesday.
move it to a couple days.
Right. We're gonna meet on the 2nd, so that must mean town meeting's the 3rd. So
Right.
we move it to the 4th.
Consensus.
Does that make sense to you? Are you good with that?
I'm good with that.
We just move it there are 5 Mondays in March. Can we just move it up a week to the 9th? Or do that?
I just figure we'll keep it, and then we'll keep the regular meeting in Dover when
On
we
the
said,
16th?
and then,
Oh, if you
But
wanna
we'll-
move- then we have to move both.
and we get to decide at reorganization, excuse me, when we wanna meet.
I see.
I mean, the person that takes Barry's place may wanna meet on Friday mornings, who knows?
You never know. Okay.
And Laura should be good, because their legislature's off that week.
Oh, okay.
That makes perfect sense.
Okay, so our next meeting will be March 4th, 6:30 in Wardsboro. So unfortunately, Barry, I mean, this is your last meeting.
Lucky you.
You miss out on cake.
But you can come to the meeting on the 3rd if you want. I mean, the meeting on the 4th.
We love public, you know that.
Yeah. And you can also, like, get on the board.
Appointed.
So,
You might not want to come in case. That's true.
All right.
so we've got a couple executive session items. I don't think we're gonna make any decisions, so if you guys wanna hang out, you can. Mark will send you, Peter, an email with what we decide, if you don't mind, Mark. And, we're gonna let you guys hang out here if you want, but we can move over there. But I'll need to entertain a motion for executive session for personnel, contractual, and for, personnel, contractual, legal, those three.
So moved.
Okay, Barry moved, do we have a second?
Second.
Mark seconds it, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
All right.
Okay, we'll move over there.